He had 15 points and 13 rebounds on the night for Gate City. Then Arthur Ferguson will get the fast break 2 off the boards there. He had 14. Also give Jason Hensley 14 points. He'll hit on the three-pointer there. The final from Gate City.
The varsity action tonight, Gate City and Patrick Henry. Gate City looking to keep their record unblemished. They are 9-0 right now on the season. Patrick Henry, a very tough team. They've lost 5 games by a total of 11 points. So a very tough team to deal with here tonight at Gate City. John Fullen, number 44, a junior Olympian, will be going up at center against Chris Shelton of Gate City. And we're set for basketball action here at Gate City. The toss is won by Gate City. Bellamy passes over to Ferguson, up and in for a quick 2. Number 40, Gill, inbounds to number 10, Crone. Crone working the basketball. Gate City in a full court press. Gill looking up court, nowhere to go. Passes back to Crone, up to number 22. That's Davison. Back to Crone. Crone over to Gill, down in the corner to Fullen. Fullen looks, nowhere to go. Gives off to number 10, Crone. Crone brings it back to the top of the key. Passes over on the left side to number 40. Gill inside to number 30. Ottinger, excuse me. Crone setting up the offense for the Rebels of Patrick Henry. Pass over to Gill, back to Crone, down in the corner to number 22. Patrick Henry working the ball real efficiently. Number 22, Davison thought about it. Passes back to Crone. And Patrick Henry will be very deliberate here tonight. They know that Gate City is a run-and-gun team. Cannot afford to get in a foot race with them. Ottinger puts a move on, shoots. No good, and Chris Shelton pulls the rebound down, out to Ferguson. Gate City running their style of basketball. Lob for Pelton over his head. Out of bounds to Patrick Henry. Number 22, Davison, inbounds the ball to number 40, Gill. Gate City in a press. Gill over to Crone. Crone back to Gill. Gill. Patrick Henry's got to hurry. It's 10 seconds. And Shelton steals it away from Davidson, out of bounds to Gate City, the official says. Tyrone Foster right there to make the call. Hensley brings it into Ferguson. Gate City up 2-0. Early in the game, 6:31 remaining first period. Bellamy on the right wing, a cross-court pass to Hensley. Hensley puts a move on. And we are going to have a foul called on Patrick Henry. Let's see who's going to get the foul. Number 22, Steve Davison, picks up the foul. Team foul number 1 on the Rebels. Hensley will trigger the ball in now for the Blue Devils. Lobs in for Shelton. Shelton has the ball tugging away from him. Fullen with a basketball, 2-on-1. Crone controls it, shoots from the foul line. Good for Chad Crone of Patrick Henry. Score knotted at 2. Ferguson brings the ball across the timeline. Passes down on the right wing to Bellamy. Inside for Shelton. Shelton working against Fullen. Puts a move on. And Foster claims that he walks. So the ball will go over to Patrick Henry. Davison triggers the ball in to number 40, Gill. Over to Crone. Crone back to Gill. Gacy sticking with a full court pressure. Gill back to Crone. Crone will set up the offense. Gill to Crone on the right side, guarded closely by Hensley. Crone in the corner for Fullen. Back to Crone. Crone's going to bring it back to the top of the key, set up the offense. Patrick Henry will be very deliberate here tonight under the first-year head coach who just taken over this year. Bellamy on the rebound, quickly out to Ferguson for Gate City. Ferguson pulls up for the jumper, in and out, and he will draw the foul from number 10, Chad Crone. And Ferguson will be at the line shooting 2 shots. Can give Gate City the lead here if he converts both shots. Ferguson eyes the mark, shoots. Nothing but cotton on that shot. He has a second attempt coming up to score 3-2. If you are wondering where Moose Morris is tonight, the young man suffered a pulled muscle in practice and will be out for at least a week to 2 weeks. we want to wish him the speedy recovery. The ball comes into the Crone as Ferguson converts on the second foul attempt. Gill, cross-court pass to Davison. Davison will bring the ball across the timeline now for the Rebels. Passes into Fullen. Fullen guarded by Shelton. Back out to Crone. Crone over to Gill, down in the corner to Ottinger. Pendleton guarding him closely. Shot up and good by number 22, Steve Davison. The score is knotted at 4. Ferguson across the timeline now for Gate City. Over to Hensley on the right wing. Skip pass over to Tony Bellamy from 3. Bottom. And let's see what we're going to have called here. Let's see if the bucket will count. The bucket is good. And a foul is called on number 30, Jimmy Ottinger. So Gate City will have the ball underneath their own bucket on top, 7-4. Hensley will trigger the ball inbounds now for Gate City. Lobbed in for Shelton. Fullen knocks it loose. And Ottinger finally picks it up, the basketball, gets it over to Crone. Crone back to number 40, Gill. Gill will bring it across the timeline for the Rebels. Setting up the offense. Crone working against Ferguson. Puts a move on up and in for 2. Nice move there by Chad Crone of Patrick Henry. Score 7-6. Gate City on top by 1. Hensley works the ball to the right wing to Ferguson. Ferguson looking in for Shelton. Back out to Hensley at the top of the key. Hensley on the right wing to Ferguson. Looking again in for Shelton. Nowhere to go. Hensley from three-point range. Good. Gate City using the three-point line to its advantage. 10-6 the score now. Gill passes over to Crone. Crone back to Gill. Gate City, very tough defense. 10 seconds to call against Patrick Henry. Good defense again by Gate City. The Blue Devils will have it on the side. 3:53 remaining first period of action here at Gate City. Hensley over to Ferguson on the left wing into Pendleton. Pendleton from about 9, no good. To tip up, no good by Ferguson. Rebound comes down to Ottinger of Patrick Henry. Gill works it across the timeline for the Rebels. Pulls up, passes to Davison. Davison turnaround jumper is good by Steve Davison. Gate City quickly up the court again. Ferguson holding up for the rest of the team to retreat. Skip pass to Bellamy. Bellamy from 3 again. This time it will be no good. Rebounded by number 40, Brian Gill. 10-8 to score. Gate City in the lead by 2. Gill over to Crone. Crone in the left corner to Ottinger. Nice pass in for Gill. Lost it off his leg, out of bounds to Gate City. Hensley brings it into Ferguson. Ferguson will work it up court now for Gate City. Passes to Hensley. Hensley over to Ferguson at the top of the key. Working on the right side to Pendleton. Lob in for Shelton. Shelton muscling in. Goes up for the shot. Give it to the animal, Chris Shelton. Score now 12-8. Gate City up by 4. Gill passes over to Crone. Crone back to Gill. Across the timeline. Trap set up. Stolen away by Hensley. The ball was out of bounds, and Patrick Henry will retain possession. And we have a timeout taken by the Patrick Henry Rebels. So with 2:38 remaining in the first quarter, Gate City on top 12-8. You are watching Scott County Cablevision TV 30.
Folks at Bud's Gun and Pawn, you will find...
Ball comes into number 30, Ottinger, guarded closely by Pendleton. Stolen away by Rusty, up and in for 2. Crone inbounds to number 22, Davison. Davison back to Gill, guarded closely by Hensley. Ball is knocked out of bounds by Tony Bellamy of Gate City. Number 22, Steve Davison will trade the ball in now for the Rebels. Brings it in to number 40, Gill. Gill sees an opening, takes it. The shot is blocked from behind by Tony Bellamy, getting a start tonight in the place of Moose Morris. Number 22, Davison inbounds the ball to Crone. Crone over to Ottinger. The shot is up. No good. Bellamy pulls the rebound down quickly to Ferguson. Ferguson shaking and baking. Passes over to Hensley. Hensley drives, shoots. No good. Rebound put up at him by Tony Bellamy. Brian Gill will bring the ball up court now for Patrick Henry, passing over to Chad Crone. Crone stolen away by Bellamy. Bellamy up. Finger roll is good. Gill passes to Crone, back to Gill. 18-8 the score now. Gate City on top by 10. Fulham with the basketball. Odger up, and Pendleton swats it out of bounds. Patrick Henry basketball. And a very enthusiastic crowd showing their support for the Big Blue tonight. Basketball comes into Fulton. No, he took steps. Traveling on John Fulton of Patrick Henry. Ferguson triggers it into Hensley. Ferguson will bring it across court to Hensley. To Pendleton, back to Hensley on the left wing. Lobbed in for Bellamy, back to Hensley. Hensley drives, passes off to the animal, no good. As Chris Shelton took steps. That's Patrick Henry's ball on the Gate City. Playing some very good defense here in the early going. Chad Crone over to Gill. Gill looking to throw to. Started closely by Ferguson. Ferguson in front, up and in. Gate City up now by 12, 20-8. Crone brings it to Fulton, quickly to Ottinger against Pendleton. Shot is up by Ottinger, no good. Ball is picked up by Ferguson. Ferguson takes it the other way now for Gate City. Passes over to Hensley. Hensley looking inside for the animal. Passes cross court to Ferguson. Inside for Pendleton. Pendleton goes up and he is hammered in there by number 40, Brian Gill. As Rusty Pendleton will step to the line now for a two-shot opportunity. Gate City up 20-8, 39 seconds remaining. Number 14, John Williams, checking into the ball game now for the Patrick Henry Rebels. Pendleton sinks the first one. We'll have a second opportunity coming up. Looking to increase 3-14 for Gate City. The shot is good by Rusty. Gate City now up by 14. Chad Crone, with the basketball now for
Patrick Henry.
Double team by Bellamy and Hensley, and knocked out of bounds by Hensley. Patrick Henry's. Davison will trade the ball in now for the Rebels. The ball comes into Fulton. Fulton gets it from line to Crone. Crone gives to Williams, number 14. Williams passes to Davison. Davison guarded closely by Bellamy. Back on top to Fulton, over to Williams. Williams drives, shoots. No good, pulled down by Bellamy. Quickly out to Hensley for Gate City.
Hensley
going to pull it up. Pass cross court to
Ferguson. Ferguson inside to
Shelton. Shelton, strong move up. And a blocking foul will be called on number 44, John Fulton of Patrick Henry. 4 seconds remaining in the quarter. As Chris Shelton will step to the line now with a two-shot opportunity. It's been all Gate City here in the first quarter. The shot is good by Shelton. Increases the lead to 15, 23-8. As Shelton sinks his second shot. Davison triggers it into Crone. 2 seconds remain, still away. As Bellamy lost control of the basketball as time expires. So at the end, one complete. Gate 24. Watching Blue Devil basketball on Scott County Cablevision TV 30. Bounds. To begin the second quarter, Patrick Henry only coming up with 1 rebound in the first quarter, so Gate City doing the job on the boards. Fulton gives to Crone. Crone guarded closely by Ferguson. Looking for some help, finds Williams to Ottinger. Guarded closely by Rusty Pendleton, and Pendleton caught Ottinger with a knee. That will be personal number 1 on Rusty. Works it back to the key, guarded closely by Hensley. On the left wing to Ottinger. Ottinger looking for the cut, no one there. Finally passes out to John Fullen. Fullen inside to Ottinger. Ottinger shoots. And give Jimmy Ottinger 2 points on a nice move on the inside. Gate City's lead is 14. Ferguson to Bellamy. Inside to Shelton. Shelton, strong move. The shot is up, in and out. Tough break for Shelton. The rebound is pulled down by number 42, Jeff May, who's checking into the ball game. Guarded by Shelton. Passes back to Williams. Gate City playing a tough man-to-man defense. Almost taken away by Hensley, and it is. Hensley one-on-one. Puts the shot up. Bang. Jason Hensley. 16-point lead. 26 to 10. Crone over to Williams. Williams will bring it across the timeline now for the Rebels. Passes back to Crone. In for Shelton. Shelton is fouled by number 44, John Fullen. Got his personal foul to convert the 1+1 here. The score. Gate City up by 15. Shelton, shot is up and good. May brings the ball into Chad Crone. Crone, double team, passes to Fullen, and we'll have a foul. Pushing foul will be called on number 40, which will be Tony Bellamy. Personal foul number 1 on Tony, getting his first start of the season, replacing the injured Moose Morris. May brings it into Williams. Williams across the timeline. Passes it back to Crone. Crone over to Ottinger. Ottinger drives, shoots. Misses the layup, rebounded by Bellamy. Off to Hensley. Hensley working against May. And the ball is thrown away by John Fullen. Williams holds the basketball up, gives over to number 10, Chad Crone, who brings it across the timeline. To Ottinger. Nice pass there from Ottinger, and we are going to have a foul. Called on number 12, I believe, Arthur Ferguson. That will be Arthur's first foul, as that will send Chad Crone to the line, shooting 2 shots. The opening Highland District contest for each team. Gate City 9-0 on the season, looking to extend their record to 10-0 and 1-0 in the district. As Crone kisses the front of the rim, and the shot will be no good. As the second shot falls for Crone, the ball will be inbounded by Pendleton into Hensley. Hensley across the timeline over to Ferguson. Ferguson looking inside for Shelton. Finds Shelton. Back out to Ferguson. The jump shot is up. Long, rebounded by Jeff May. Williams working the basketball up court now for Patrick Henry. Passes over to Crone to Ottinger in the left corner. Ottinger working against Pendleton. Passes to Williams, taken away by Hensley. And the crowd hollers for backcourt as Williams shoots the basketball. No good, rebounded by Pendleton. Out to Ferguson. The numbers are not there, so Ferguson will pull it up. Skip pass to Tony Bellamy. Bellamy took steps. Patrick Henry's ball. 5:09 remaining. 28-13 the score. Number 10, Crone over to May. May back to Crone as Gate City will continue to put on the full court press. Fullen to Ottinger. Ottinger up and good. Ferguson quickly to Hensley. Hensley from 3 decides better of it. Passes back to Ferguson. In the corner to Hensley from 3-point range. No good. Rebounded by May. So Patrick Henry mounting a comeback here. 28-15 the score. Rebels down by 13 points. Ferguson on the steal, and easy right this time, up and in for 2. John Williams passes to May, knocked off the hands of Tony Bellamy. Patrick Henry will have the ball on the side. Steve Davison re-enters the game, replacing Jimmy Ottinger, who takes a rest. Ball comes in to Chad Crone. Crone across the timeline, goes up. Shot is no good, pulled down by Pendleton, out to Ferguson. 3-on-3 break. Ferguson will pull up for the jumper. Long rebound comes down to Davison. The ball is loose. Out of bounds on Patrick Henry. Gate City will have the ball underneath their own bucket. 4:11 remaining, first half of action here from Gate City High School. Ferguson in the corner to Hensley from 3. Bottom for Jason Hensley. 33-15 the score. Gate City up by 18. Crone to Williams across the timeline to Fullen. As Crone just barely across the timeline with the basketball for Patrick Henry. Good defense by Ferguson, and we have 5 seconds called. So on the turnover, Gate City will have the ball on the side. As number 40 will check into the ball game now for Patrick Henry. That is Brian Gill. Hensley across the timeline. Passes over to Bellamy. Bellamy skip pass to Ferguson. Ferguson runs down the loose basketball. Inside for Shelton. Shelton controls it. Passes back out to Pendleton up. And he is hammered. No foul called. Bellamy will go to the line for 2. As number 22, Steve Davison, come down on the head of Bellamy. Bellamy can increase the lead here to 20 if he converts both foul shots. First shot is no good. The young man will have a second attempt coming up. Shot is up and no good. The ball is batted by Pendleton and pulled down by Jeff May, number 42. May passes over to John Williams. Williams brings the basketball across the timeline for the Rebels. Lost control momentarily. Passes to Fullen. May working against Bellamy. The shot is up short. Rebounded by Tony Bellamy. Off to Ferguson. Ferguson pulls up for the 10-footer. No good. Rebound comes down to Hensley. Hensley reverse layup. No good. Shelton fighting for the ball. Puts it back up. No good. Tipped by Bellamy. And this time it will fall. 35-15. The Blue Devils on top by 20. Williams chased by Ferguson. To Fullen. Fullen bounce pass to Davison. Davison back to Williams. Williams will bring it to the top of the key to Gill. Over on the left side to number 42 May into Gill up. And we are going to have a foul called. The bucket may count. Bucket is good. The foul is on number 40, Tony Bellamy, on the hack. Jimmy Ottinger, number 30, checking back into the contest, replacing 42, Jeff May. Second personal foul on Tony Bellamy. Shot is up, short, rebounded by Hensley. Hensley with a 3-on-4. Drives the middle of the lane, puts it up, no good. Took steps. And Patrick Henry will have the ball on the side as a result of the turnover. Number 22, Davison brings the ball into number 40, Gill. Gill to Williams. Williams across the timeline to Ottinger. Gate City is back on defense. The shot up by Gill, no good. Ball comes down to Gill. Back out to Williams. Over to Ottinger on the right wing. Ottinger drives, shoots. Shelton got a piece of the ball, but also got a piece of Ottinger. As Chris Shelton picks up his first personal of the evening, it'll be a 2-shot foul for Ottinger. Ottinger's first shot is up and no good. The tail end of the 2-shot foul coming up now for Ottinger. Shot is off and no good. The ball will go off the hands of Shelton out to Patrick Henry. Davison will trigger it in for the Patrick Henry Rebels now. Brings it into John Williams, back on top to Brian Gill. Davison on the left wing inside to number 40 Gill. The shot is smacked by Shelton. The ball saved in bounds, and number 22 Davison comes up with it. Pendleton pulls the rebound down out to Ferguson. Ferguson up, and we will have a foul called on number 40, Brian Gill of Patrick Henry. .40 is Brian Gill, and that will send Arthur Ferguson to the line with a 2-shot foul coming up. 35-17 the score. Shot is up and good by Ferguson. One minute and 43 seconds remaining here in the first half. Second shot is nothing but cotton for Ferguson. Number 10, Chad Crone working against the double team. Bellamy gets it across the timeline. Ottinger takes it up and in for 2. So Jimmy Ottinger providing some good offense for the Rebels here tonight. Not afraid to take it inside against the big man. Hensley passes to Ferguson. Ferguson for Pendleton. Pendleton pulls it down, shoots, and he will draw the foul from number 10, Chad Crone of Patrick Henry. And they are going to change that to number 30, Jimmy Ottinger. So Rusty Pendleton will be at the line for 2 shots. Pendleton eyes the bucket. The shot is up, in and out. And that should be a 2-shot foul, but they're saying a 1-and-1 apparently. So Gate City will maintain the basketball as a result of the ball going out of bounds on Patrick Henry. The ball comes into Shelton. Shelton in the middle, shoots. Good for Chris Shelton. Crone brings it up. Double team by Hensley and Bellamy. Fullen to Ottinger. Ottinger drives as Pendleton will pick up a foul with a knee. That's the second personal on Rusty Pendleton. Number 12, Chris Taylor, set to come in now for Patrick Henry to replace number 44, John Fullen. 60 ticks remaining on the clock here in the first half. 39-17 the score. The shot up and in for Ottinger. 39-20 the score. Number 44, Chris Potts, will give Rusty Pendleton a break. Shot by Ottinger is nothing but cotton. Ferguson across the timeline for Gate City, passes to Hensley. Hensley looking inside, setting up the offense, passes in the corner for Potts. Potts will bring it back on top to Hensley, inside to Bellamy. Bellamy to Shelton, off his hands. Potts comes up with it, and he will draw the foul on number 10, Chad Crone of Patrick Henry. That's personal foul number 2 on Crone. Potts, first shot is up, in and out. Tough break there by Chris Potts. Potts eyes the mark, shoots, and that will give Gate City 40 now. The ball comes into number 10, Chad Crone. 40 seconds remaining first half. Williams loses the basketball. The ball comes to Bellamy. Bellamy up and in for 2. Davison to Williams. Williams will give to Crone. Crone guarded by Bellamy. Bellamy with some tough defense gives it to Williams. Williams across the timeline as Patrick Henry will set up for the last shot. Ottinger on the left wing, guarded by Potts, back on top of the key to Taylor. To the right corner is number 10, Crone, back on top to Davison, over to Taylor. Taylor shoots, no good, the ball is loose, pulled down by Crone. 1 second remaining, the shot is up, And the bucket counts at the buzzer. So at the end of one half of basketball, the score here from Gate City, 42-23, Gate City on top. You're watching Scott
points with Arthur Ferguson, Jason Hensley with 8, Chris Shelton with 8, Rusty Pendleton with 4, and Chris Potts with 1. For Patrick Henry, you had Chad Crone with 9, Brian Gill with 2, Steve Davidson with 4, and Jimmy Ottinger hitting for 8. And we're set to start the second half of action. Arthur Ferguson, the point guard, over to Hensley. Ferguson in the crowd, passes back to Hensley. Hensley going to drive, put the shot up. It is no good. There's Tony Bellamy at the rebound, shot up and good. Gate City putting pressure on Patrick Henry now. Gill brings it up for Patrick Henry, looking for someone to pass off to. Finds number 10, Crone. Crone going to take it inside over Shelton. No good. Shelton collects the rebound. Gives to Ferguson. Arthur Ferguson. Long pass up to Hensley. Hensley at the three-point line. Gives to Bellamy. Bellamy shot blocked by number 44, Fullen. Hensley inside, stolen away.
Crone will be bringing the basketball up court now for Patrick Henry. Gill passes in the corner for Jimmy Ottinger. Inside to Crone. The shot is up too hard. Shelton pulls the bound down. Hensley for Gate City. Lost control of the basketball, going through the double team. Rebound comes down to number 40, Gill. The ball is loose, picked up by Ottinger. May gives back to Gill. Gill will bring it across the timeline now for Patrick Henry. Over to Crone. Almost thrown away by Hensley. Gill for May. May guarded by Bellamy. Inside for Crone. The turnaround jump shot is good. Gate City quickly up court now. Ferguson across the timeline. Pulls it back out to Pendleton. Over to Hensley. Hensley looking inside. Has the ball tipped away by Crone for Bellamy. Bellamy underhand scoop shot, no good. Rebound pulled down by Fullen. Gill across the timeline for Patrick Henry. Guarded closely by Hensley into Fullen. Ottinger against Pendleton. The shot is up, no good. Ferguson pulls the rebound down for Gate City. Quickly for Hensley. Hensley's pull-up 10-footer is good. 46-25 the score. As Gate City is warned to leave the basketball on as it comes through the hoop. Time is taken for Tony Bellamy to tie his shoe. Ball comes in for Gill. Gill for Ottinger across the timeline. Back to Crone. Crone will set up the offense now for the Rebels. Ottinger gives to Gill. Gill looking inside at the top of the key. Pendleton almost stole away. Ottinger with a clean ride. Shelton blocks it from behind. Fullen with the basketball goes up. And that is a charge on John Fullen as Tony Bellamy had his position established. That's 3 personals on John Fullen. Good job there by Bellamy taking the charge. Hensley inbounds the ball to Ferguson. Ferguson brings it across the timeline. Lobbed inside for Shelton. And we'll have a foul called on, let's see if that's Fullen. If it is, that will be number 4 on him. Number 44, John Fullen, that's number 4. So Patrick Henry's coach will send in number 24 to replace him. That's Dale Callens. Hensley brings it into Ferguson. Ferguson looking inside. Going to pop the 3. No good. Bellamy, good position, goes up. The ball will not fall. The rebound is tipped out by Gate City. Number 22, Steve Davis, replaces number 30, Jimmy Ottinger. And Gate City sending 5 new players into the game now. Josh Collins, Herman Spivey, Chris Potts, Brian McDavid, and Kevin Williams. And the starting 5 of Gate City getting a big hand from the crowd. Up by 21. Jeff May brings it into number 40, Brian Gill. Gill finds Davison. Davison across the timeline, guarded closely by Collins. Using the elbow to push Collins off. 5 seconds to call. Gate City's basketball. Good defense there by number 42, Josh Collins of Gate City. McDavid triggers it into Williams. Williams working it on the right wing to Potts. Back out to Williams. Williams working inside to Spivey. Spivey's shot is blocked by number 40, Brian Gill of Patrick Henry. Gill will bring the ball across the timeline for the Rebels. Passes over to number 10, Crone, down to Davidson. Working against Collins. The shot is up and in, good, from Steve Davidson of Patrick Henry. Kevin Williams works the ball across the timeline for the Blue Devils. Passes to McDavid. In the corner for Collins. Back out on top for Williams. To Collins. Collins, skip pass is stolen away by Chad Crone. 3-on-2 breakaway, and Crone will pull up, gives his offense enough time to get back. Jeff May inside for Crone, loses control of the basketball, comes up with it, shoots, no good, falls up, gets his rebound, and the rebound is pulled down this time by Jeff May. May gives to Davidson. Davidson back on top to Gill, over to Crone. Crone over to Gill, and Patrick Henry being very patient. We're going to have a foul called. Number 30 picks up the foul. That is Brian McDavid. That will be his first personal. Number 14, John Williams, into the contest now for Chad Crone. Davidson brings the ball into May. On top to Gill. Gill for Williams. Williams looking inside. Casey shutting down the paint area. Gill passes to May, guarded closely by McDavid. Finds Davidson on the cut. The shot is up, no good. Rebounded by Josh Collins. Collins passes to Kevin Williams. Williams for Potts in the corner to Spivey. Back out to Potts on the right wing. Gives to Kevin Williams. KC being very patient now. Potts with the basketball inside to Spivey. Back to Potts. Potts 10-footer is good. KC's lead is now 48-27. Brian Gill. As Potts, being a little bit too aggressive, commits the personal. That is Chris Potts' first personal. Number 22, Davidson will trigger the ball in now for the Rebels. Brings it in to Brian Gill, number 40. Gill gives his offense enough time to get back. Works it up himself across the timeline. Chris Potts being very aggressive on defense. Davidson with the ball now on the right wing. In the middle, stolen away by McDavid and pulled down by number 24. John Williams looking inside for Davidson. Shot up by Davidson, in and out, rebounded by Brian McDavid. Kevin Williams pushing it out for KC, up to Herman Spivey. Spivey from the three-point range, no good. The rebound pulled down by Cowens of Patrick Henry. John Williams comes the other way with the basketball. Passes over to number 40, Gill, down to Davidson. On top to Cowens, in the corner for Gill. Gill working against Potts, pulls up for the jumper. No good, as Josh Collins controls the boards. Williams across the timeline now for Gate City. Potts looking inside, in for Spivey. The ball is loose and picked up by Gill. 1:30 remaining in the third quarter. Gate City on top by 21, 48-27. Number 32 hands to Gill. Gill's pull-up jumper is no good. Rebounded by Williams. Williams loses control of the basketball. Picks it up, shoots. And in there amongst a bunch of Blue Devils, one of them committed a foul. Let's see who they're going to call it on. Number 24. And do not see a 24. It might have been number 34, Herman Spivey. As Gary Watson and Steve Reed checking into the contest now to replace Chris Potts and Josh Collins. Gary Watson, a transfer from West Virginia, good addition to the Blue Devil squad this year. Williams, his shot is up, and it will fall in. The spread is now 48 to 28. Shot is up and good by Williams. Spivey brings the basketball into Kevin Williams now for Gate City. Across the timeline to McDavid. McDavid inside for Watson. Watson, strong move, swatted away by number 24, Dale Callens, and I believe they will call Callens with a foul. Number 20 picks the foul up, Bill McFarland. Watson will have 2 shots. First shot by Watson is good. Watson eyes the mark, shoots, and second shot goes in for Watson. Number 32 brings the ball in to number 20, McFarland. McFarland across the timeline. Passes to Williams. Williams to number 32, drives, and Brian McDavid will be charged with a foul as Pruitt drove the lane, and McDavid, using a little bit too much defense, pushed him out, committing his second personal foul. The ball will come into John Williams. 50 seconds remaining, third quarter. McFarland bounce pass to Ottinger. Ottinger working against Watson. And they're going to get Watson with the foul. And that will be 1-1 now for Patrick Henry. And the shot is up and good by Jimmy Ottinger. That cuts the lead to 21, 50 to 29. Second shot is up and good. 45 seconds.